Hey everyone, so welcome to Girl Bosses Rock. My name is Leanne and I just kind of want to do a real quick intro video so I could introduce myself. You know who this crazy person behind the constant posts on Facebook and the blog. This is me. A little bit about myself. I am retired from the Navy. I did security forces and a lot of other really crazy stuff for about 18 years and was medically retired a few years back. And so, like many veterans, when they get out of the military, I too struggled with my transition into civilian life, as well as finding a job, to pay the bills. I almost became homeless because I could not find that job and almost ended up going into foreclosure on my home. I got lucky and, landed a job literally at the 11th month, working for the state of Texas, helping veterans find employment, which was kind of ironic since I had been unemployed for the preceding 12 months. But it all worked out really well. And so I learned so much from that time, not just about myself, but, about the whole transition process for veterans. But also being a woman, I was a single parent and, I was raised by a single parent. And so I just wanted to kind of create a place for women who are struggling to figure out who they are and find their inner girl boss. So many women aren't really living up to the potentials that God created for them. Whether they've gone through relationship issues or, divorce or, just domestic violence, whatever. So many things tend to bring women down to a level well below what they're capable of doing, and they just don't know how to get themselves out of it. So that is kind of how Girl Bosses Rock was born. How did I get the name? Well, women are girl bosses. We do everything, even though we don't give ourselves credit for it half the time. Many of us raise families. We take care of our home, maybe take care of our spouse, and often also have a job on top of that. So we really are ninjas. And so that's actually a funny story. I was making my business cards and, I put my name and the name of the business, and I'm like, well, what is my title going to be? And, I didn't want to go with the cliche of CEO or owner or whatever. So I decided I was going to be a Girl Boss Ninja coach. And so the whole premise of Girl Bosses Rock is for me to hopefully inspire and empower women, coach them, if you will, into being the best that they can be and believing in themselves so they can make a better future for themselves and their families. God didn't create us to be mediocre. He didn't create us to live in turmoil or in poverty. He's given all of us tools, and he's given us abilities and strengths and talents and so many things. And I just see so many people with so much potential. I meet people on a daily basis, and I'm like, why aren't you using that to make a profit for yourself? Because I guess they just don't get how they could live doing this thing that they just think is a hobby or whatever. And so that is kind of how all of this came about. I have the blog, and I write on there about, faith and, being the best that you can be and how to move on and empower yourself. And also a lot about business topics. I started a school called Girl Bosses Rock, where I teach different things about internet marketing, Pinterest, using it to make money, blogging, and things like that. And so the next step was, to start doing these live videos. And so you can probably hear my dogs down here. Don't pay any attention to them. My kids are kind of grown. I have a 14 and a 20-year-old. But I have these crazy Dobermans that act like 2-year-olds. So if you hear growling in the background, don't worry, I'm not being attacked. So anyway, that is what this whole thing is about. My goal on here is to come on at least, once a day, once every other day. It might be with a pre-recorded video like this one, or some live feeds where I'm literally just in the spur of the moment getting on, and you can kind of get a glimpse into my life, which is just so glamorous. That was a joke. I have people tell me sometimes, because I seem so outgoing and, I just seem to have it all together. And I think so many women present themselves in that manner. And the reality is most of us don't have it all together. And, inside we might be falling apart. Our lives are crumbling. We just have issues after issues, my home, I'm sure you can see the backdrop here. It looks all nice and pretty. My house is literally falling apart, and I'm, in court battles trying to get it fixed. I almost thought, I was worried that Hurricane Harvey was literally going to blow my back wall off. And I'm digging out of debt from previous relationships, things that happened before now that caused me to go into severe debt. But I'm recovering. That's the thing. Whatever happens to you, it happened. It happened yesterday or before, and it's not happening now. And if it is, you can change that. And so that is what I want to, pass on to all of you, is that whatever you're going through right now is temporary. And once you have gotten out of that situation, it's gone, it's over. Don't live in it. And what I mean by that is, so many times when we're hurt, or something's happened to us in the past, we carry it on into our futures, and that is the number one reason we aren't succeeding, is because we're still living in that thing that happened. And so I hope that many of you can see my story and be inspired to say, hey, if she was able to overcome these things, so can I. And, I'm going to share with you the little bits of how I've done these things, because in the end, there they go again. I promise, nobody's dying. They're just fighting over a toy. In the end, God created us in his image, and he also gave all of us individual strengths, talents, things that we're really good at. The key for you to be successful is to figure out what that talent, what that skill is, and what his intended purpose for you in giving it to you was. And when you figure that out, you're going to be able to take over your life. You're going to just have so many blessings come your way. And, that I can't stress how important that is. We all have that one thing that we're good at. And if you can figure out what yours is and figure out what you're supposed to do with it, you're going to see great things come your way. So I hope that we can look back on 2018 and, you'll be able to say, wow, this was the year of change for my life. And, 12 months from now, look back on it and just be like, wow, I cannot believe how far I've come. And so that is all. My gift, by the way, is the gift of gab, in case you can't figure that out. And so with my gift of gab, I am hoping to pass on just a little bit of inspiration to you, to help and motivate you into becoming a better person, and, putting fear aside and just stepping out in a leap of faith to do what needs to be done to better your lives. So that's all. I hope to see some of you in some of the live feeds very soon. But until then, that's all.